going to get started. Awesome. Thank you so much for coming to the Nelson Center for Entrepreneurship Founder Fridays. This is our second to last of the semester. We always like to do this, but for those of you who it's your first time at a Nelson Center event, can you raise your hand? We like to showcase. Awesome. Welcome. We hope you sign up for our newsletter and future events. We have another Founder Fridays next Friday, same time, same place, same food. And that's with Michael Slavy, who is the two-time CTO for Obama's campaign when he's running for president. So you should come, and it's also the keynote for the CIS Tech Summit. Awesome, so we're excited to have Cheryl McCants here, who drove all the way from New Jersey this morning at 5 a.m. So we're excited. We're excited to welcome her back to campus. She's the class of '86. And she's also bringing her daughter around, so hopefully we'll wow Brown, and hopefully she'll be coming here in a few years. But I'll let Cheryl talk about her career, her entrepreneurial journey. She's an expert storyteller, is the CEO and founder of her own consulting company. I'm really excited to learn from her today.
Thank you. So hi, everybody. So my first question is, I saw there were some people that were here for the first time. Is it, you turned me on? Yes?
You're on.
Yeah, I'm on. So what made you come today? Why?
We have a women in tech group, and this got sent to it. Your event got sent.
Oh, very cool. All right. I spoke at a Women in Tech conference in Newark, New Jersey over the summer, and I realized that I am a woman in tech, right? And I have no technology on me at all today. So I don't have my cell phone. I left my laptop. So I'm a little frazzled, but I'm free, right, as I was informed. So I think we're all people in technology. You have to be in tech today. And especially as an entrepreneur, you carry your office, in your backpack. I was in Manhattan the other day lugging my laptop, my chargers, my extra batteries, and then my notebook, and realized that I had my office on my back. And so, as an entrepreneur, we're always on the move. And I'm glad that the women in tech are here. Awesome. So, my name is Sheryl Mccants. I am the founder, president, and CEO of Impact Consulting Enterprises. And very short, I used to call myself the principal. I have a public relations, marketing, advertising, so more on the creative side, and I thought principal sounded really, really cool. And then I love school, right? So, take this off. This is a problem. Okay, is that better? And so, I have to take my necklace off? Really? I like it. Oh. Can I put my scarf on?
Yeah.
So, I know, like you're messing up my little fashion thing here. Can I have my scarf back? So, what was I saying? Where was I?
Principal.
Oh, yes, so principal, right. So, I don't know if you've heard of the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, right? It's this program for small business owners to go and participate. So the first thing they said to me was, nobody wants to talk to a principal. They want to talk to the president and CEO. So change your title, go change all your business cards, and once you put president and CEO, you'll get free magazines. And so, doggone it, right? I changed it. I'm no longer the principal of Impact Consulting Enterprises. I am the president and CEO, and I get junk mail all day long. So, but I do, in seriousness, when you are looking to start your own business, and if you want to do business with people who want to do business back with you, and everybody always wants to talk to the person in charge. And that person in charge is usually the president or the CEO. And so since I am president and CEO, I'm the president and CEO. So my first piece of advice to you all when you have your businesses is to make sure that if you are in charge, let people know you're in charge. Some people call themselves managing directors, and we're not really managing directors. You're not that large. So once you get and you have your huge corporations and you've got all these multi-layers, then you can, downplay yourself. But the thing that I learned was that, and it took me a long time, actually, but one of my most recent learnings is that you have to promote yourself. So with that in mind, I also want to say, I know you're eating, but swallow, grunt, moan, and participate. right? So ask me questions as we go along. Stop me. Am I talking too fast? No, okay, good. So stop me if I'm talking too quickly. Let me know if you want some clarity on something. Time is tight, so I'm gonna try to go through a whole lot of stuff, but I also wanna be able to make sure that I get some questions from you all. The other thing, you can reach me at, so you should follow my social media channels because we give great advice for entrepreneurs and small businesses. And we tweet 6 times a day. We post on Facebook once a day and on our LinkedIn page once a day. And that is not accidental, that is intentional. So my other thing to say to you is to be intentional in everything that you do. You can find us at Twitter at ICE Branding. ICE, I thought it was cool. Get it? ICE, cool, right? Impact Consulting Enterprises, ICE, right? So I thought that was cool. But it's ICE Branding. And on Facebook, our Facebook page is Impact Consulting Enterprises. So how did I get started? Well, I want to say this young man here in the front of the room is really, unbeknownst to him, one of the reasons that I recognized that this was the career path for me. I came to Brown as an engine major. I wanted to build the first black bionic woman. I know I just dated myself, but that was really my intention. I wanted to have a black bionic woman, God dog it, and we were going to, take over the world. And then came those engine classes and those bridges and the stresses and the trusses and all they were just, London Bridge may fall down. And I eventually migrated myself. I spent my junior year over in Bogota, Colombia. And while I was there, I took classes at la Universidad de los Andes and I learned about administration. Is what they called their business classes. And I learned about learning. And I realized that what I learned at Brown was I really learned how to learn. And I really learned how to leverage what was in me. And the thing that was in me was really creative. So while I had been an engine major my freshman year, then I was an Apple Math Econ major my sophomore year. Then I went away, right? Because clearly, just got to go. Then when I came back, Dean Hazeltine and I sat down and I wound up getting a double major, one in business economics, we kind of put it all together, and organizational behavior and management. And as a result of that, I left Brown and the career services office was phenomenal. I had a job lined up in New York City. It was all great. And I went and it was okay, right? But my resume, instead of the traditional resume, my resume was typed on blue paper, because, right, I just got to be a little different. So got this job, didn't kind of like it, didn't want to do it. And then I met this woman, and her name is Deb Watring from Talladega, Alabama. And she was training and teaching. And I said to her, I love what you do, and why do you have your own business? And she says, you know what? You can have your own business too. I said, well, no, I'm in training. So what she said to me was, do you have vacation? I said, yes. She said, take vacation and come subcontract from me. And if you like it, if it works, quit. And if not, you just don't have any more vacation for the rest of the year. So, you're recording this. My mother doesn't even know this. So I did that. And I wound up setting up my company, Impact Consulting Enterprises. And Deb's clients were regional Bell operating companies, which no one in here except for us in the front row probably remember. Those are the old telephone companies that used to be placed around the country that were accused of creating a monopoly that no longer exists now. But I started my company, so I took vacation, I went out with Deb, I watched, I saw what she did, and I wound up realizing that my engineering brain was serving me because there was this technology, these switches that were in these telephone companies, stations, that no one knew how to use. So I read the manuals, the Siemens manuals, and here's my other tip. If you come up with a good idea, don't tell anybody. Right? So, because they'll steal it, especially from young people. So and even from old people. So if you come up with a good idea, you want to patent it, And even if you haven't patented it, just put the little TM mark on it so they think it's patented. So we wound up reading these books, and in a meeting I said, well, this blah, 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 will allow you to talk with someone and have the other person wait so you can get the other call. Oh, does it? Let's call that call waiting. The other thing that we came up with was, so what was it? It was call waiting, and what was and so MCI was one of our clients, and they said to me, you're a recent college graduate, what would you like to do? I said, well, I would want to talk to a circle of my family and friends. And then they created this program called Friends and Family. So those great ideas, I wouldn't be here right now had I patented them or trademarked them. But that's the signs of being a good entrepreneur. So throughout my career, I have always been telling stories, always been looking to take complex ideas and find ways to make them simple. And I've learned that in the public relations space, in the marketing communication space, and I stole this line from a movie with Sean Connery and Wesley Snipes because I thought it was great. I can't remember the name of the movie. But he said, tell it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. And I realized that if you can explain something so that a child, or this age, my mother, right? So either end of those spectrums, if they can get it, then the masses will understand as well. So I started Impact. My business model was not the smartest one. The regional operating companies don't exist. So then I got a job, as my mother said. So after buying 2 houses, traveling, and having every Thanksgiving come and be asked, so you're gonna get a job, Cheryl? Well, I have a job. But no, a job where somebody pays you. I said, well, they do pay me. Well, no, a job where someone pays your health insurance. So that was the definition. So what I'm gonna say to you is don't be discouraged. Don't allow others to trample on your dreams or to tell you what you're thinking about is stupid. It might be stupid, but you know what? Stupid sells, right? People stand in line for some of the most stupid, ridiculous things, right? So if you have an idea, you need to make sure that you do spend some time flushing it out. You need to make sure that you do spend some time having a strong business model behind you. And from a financing perspective, I didn't have any money, but for PR and marketing, all you needed was like good ideas and a printer and a computer. But figure out what your needs are and then go for it, right? So before I keep talking, is anybody in here an entrepreneur already? Aspiring? Good? Yeah? Doing what?
Gamifying philanthropy with a cool web app.
Really? Meaning?
It's like a live crowdfunding platform. So if I were in your shoes right now, I could say, hey everyone, go to actionauctions.org. We could all collectively raise money for charity.
Action Auctions, ACTIONS, AUCT.
That's bad name. Please don't get my
Okay. No, don't change it. Just don't call it AA. Right? So just think of the branding, right? That's what my team and I do, right? So just keep that in mind, right? So you got Action Auctions. You want to keep that. Because otherwise people say, oh, AA? Right? So remember that. So keep that in mind. But a tip would be, if people do think of AA, get the URL and then just redirect them to wherever you want them to go. Right? Make sense? Anybody else have their own business? Yes.
Real estate investment, flipping and buying and holding.
Okay, how long?
2 years.
That's a tough business.
Yes.
A lot of work. Are you doing the rehab yourself, or you got a team of folks?
I leverage everything.
You leverage everything. Awesome. So, what's the name of the business?
Two Rivers Property Solutions.
I've heard of you.
I'd be surprised, but thank you.
Do you have anybody in New York City working with you at all? A gray-haired woman? No?
No.
Because I was in class all the time, right? So another course that I took, I thought there was a woman in real estate, and I thought that was the name of her company. But so how is the entrepreneurial experience for you?
Great. Where I get stuck is marketing.
Okay.
And, kind of one deal at a time, and a lot of cold calling, and, I do want to get to that next
step. So what I would say, as an entrepreneur, when you are branding and when you are marketing, remember that unless you are a celebrity, nobody really cares about you. It's about your product or your service. And so it's imperative that you figure out what's your, they call it, right, what's your unique qualifier, you know, what's your differentiating factor. But it's true, right? So figure out what it is that you do that's so different from everybody else, and then make sure that a 6-year-old can understand it, and say it always and often. So my key, like people say, well, what do? We tell stories. We tell your stories. We tell stories. So I do marketing, public relations, communications. I tell stories. So at the end of the day, you want to figure out what your it is, and then say it always and often, so that people then associate you with the it. So once you get your product and service out there, you then want to begin to put your face, or whoever's going to be your corporate representative, put that face with that thing, right? So Impact Consulting Enterprises was out there, and we did great work. And then my team said, you know, Sheryl, you keep telling your clients this, so we need to do it ourselves. People need to know who you are. So then in our ads and in our social media stuff, then my face started to go up there. And you see I'm wearing exactly what I wore on the thing. And that's intentional, so that everybody would go, oh yeah, that's the lady from the website. Except I didn't have my green scarf, right? So you then want to associate your face and your image with the thing, so that when you walk into the room, they see you and then think of your business, right? And then once you get all of that done, then you just want to start promoting yourself. And my firm and myself, we're the recipient of a whole bunch of awards, and I'm really proud of them. We have 2 Stevie, I'm Woman of the Year, right? Isn't that cool? So I'm Woman of the Year for the Stevie Awards, right? I'm a bronze winner for the best, what am I? Woman of the Year for Marketing, Advertising, and Public Relations, globally. Really cool. Here's what I learned. The things that we do for our customers, you submit for these awards, right? They don't come easy and they don't come cheap. So in your businesses, you want to have a line item for marketing, right? Don't think that it's something that you don't want to do. And as a PR, marketing advertising firm, I didn't have a line item for marketing, but I do now. So for the past 2 or 3 years, there's now a line item in my business for marketing. Because of that, we then have submitted, we've won, we get the phone rings now, right? So I used to say, we don't need anybody to answer the phones, it's never really ringing, right? Now I have somebody to answer the phone. I'm teaching her to smile when you answer, because people can tell whether you're smiling or not. But you want to promote yourself and promote your business. So back to impact. So fast forward, the Ma Bells broke up, my business fell apart. I then got a job like my mom wanted to, and I worked for AT&T. I was at AT&T, I moved up through the ranks. I eventually, and the other thing, when you go for, if you work in corporate America and you want to go to grad school, make them pay, right? They will. So there's all these kind of things, because as long as you are studying something that is going to increase your value for the organization, right? They're investing really in themselves. So it might be giving you another degree, but going to work and going to school is very difficult. So I got 2 degrees. I have a master's in project management. That's my anal engineering side. And then I have a master's in broadcast journalism, which is my really fun creative side. So I'm anally creative. So then with that, I then decided that we really need to figure out what it is we want to do. And with your own businesses, it's okay to change. And one thing that I appreciate from my project management skills is you establish a baseline, right? So that you at least know where you're starting. And it's okay to deviate, but know it's a deviation, right? It's okay to change course. Just know that you're changing course. And it's okay to change your mind, right? Because you can change. I changed my major 4 times in 4 years and got 2 degrees, all in 4 years, right? So as long as you are intentional about what it is you're doing, you'll be able to be successful. Just define what success means for you. What does success mean for you?
Being happy and fulfilling your life.
Okay. Being happy and fulfilled. What does being happy mean?
Well, what you're doing that you find enjoyable, probably. Maybe like making an impact on somebody else and the community around you.
Okay, perfect. And the reason I'm pushing, right, because happy is such a a common word, right? And I completely agree with you. It is so important, especially when you're an entrepreneur, that you like what you're doing. Because one of the biggest challenges of having your own business is being lonely. Because when you're broke, right, when you're worried about payroll, or when you're just frustrated, who are you going to tell? You certainly can't tell your team. You can say, hey, let's have a team meeting. God, I have no money, right? That's not going to work so well. So the thing about being an entrepreneur is really the loneliness associated with it. And I would suggest to you all that as you go on and continue to pursue your entrepreneurial goals and dreams to make sure that you're happy and fulfilled, you find a group, a cohort, whatever you want to call it, but you have to be able to talk to somebody that you can trust, obviously, and that you can confide in about what you're doing, because it does get lonely. It is challenge. It's hard work. And the other thing is entrepreneurs are the most tenacious, dogged, creative, fun people that I have ever met. I guess that's me too, right? So, but I say that in all sincerity because you have to figure out how to make things happen, right? So who over here has their own business? Who else? I saw some other hands. Entrepreneur in aspiring, yes?
Aspiring entrepreneur and a dabbling entrepreneur, right? In other revenues. But the thing I'm working on now is an apparel line and marketplace that's inclusive to people with diverse needs, whether that be like functional with arthritis or even a physical difference. And so just making clothing more adaptive to fit diverse needs of the spectrum of health.
So when you say adaptive clothing, are you talking about clothing biomaterials that have biometrics built in the fabrication, or?
Right now, the first renditions are really more just design. So like cut and seam placement, fasteners, so not using zippers, and replacing things like buttons with magnets, but still keeping fashion a part of that because current adaptive items are usually.
So if you have arthritis, it's really hard. But even if you don't have arthritis, those the buttons that come at the end of shirts, who does that, right? Because you can't ever get dressed by yourself and button all your buttons, right? So that's wonderful. So what's your next step?
I'm a part of B-Lab.
Okay, yay!
And I'm debuting a few pieces of apparel products at a fashion show to just like right now, building our team's capacity and like our awareness, and then also like as an entity learning the skills to be a business through like B-Lab and gaining that momentum.
That's wonderful. So let me just also suggest that while you're going to create your business plan, everybody's going to create a strategic business plan, right? Because it's all about strategy. Make sure you also create a strategic marketing plan. Because you have to think strategically about how you're going to position your product or your service in the marketplace. And don't try to be all things to all people. At one juncture in my life, I was the corporate social responsibility manager for Nike. Long title. I was brought on, I have a background because of some of my time at AT&T in crisis communication. So I Sheryl it. I like to think of myself as my version of Judy Smith, right? And Scandal. So we Sheryl it. I'm my own verb, right? So Nike hired me to help them deal with the allegations of child labor. And so then I moved on from that. We Sheryl it, right? But we Sheryl it in the right way. And we wound up working with NGOs. I lived over in Asia for a while, and I personally visited every apparel and footwear manufacturing partner that Nike had, so I could see for myself what was taking place in the factories. I then also visited some state-owned factories. I then also visited some of our competitors' factories. And we put policies in place. And what a lot of Americans fail to realize, now I'm going to get on a soapbox for a minute. So what a lot of Americans fail to realize is that in countries outside of our own, there is no such thing as free or public education. And that children and families have to pay in order to educate their children. And then in a lot of countries, girls don't have the opportunity to work except to be prostitutes and to sell their bodies. And so the alternative that the families found was, instead of having their daughters be sexually exploited, they would change. The paperwork was all in order. It was just fake paperwork, right? But they would change the paperwork to allow their children to be able to work in the factories so they can help bring some funds in to then help take care of the families. So one of the things that we did, we figured this out. There were already rules and regulations in place. So I worked with our auditors to ensure that they would implement the consequences associated with child labor on the line. We then worked with NGOs, and we gave seed money through the foundations to enable women to start their own businesses. It was microfunding, right? And then when we found children, we plucked them out and we paid for them to go to school. And factories would lose the line if they were in violation 3 times. So it took a long time, but it was Sheryling it with with levels of moral and integrity that I think really make a difference. So I think that as you go about and work on what your passion is, it's really important that you are making a difference. I think one of the things that I love about this generation, I heard that, sorry, about this generation is that you guys really care. My generation, we cared, but we kind of cared. All right, we cared, we sat on the green and we cared. You guys care and do. And I think that is phenomenal. And so as you are finding your cohorts, whether it's women in tech, whatever group it is that you can rally together, talk with each other, do something that you care about, make a difference, and make some money. So the other thing, right, we are here to make money, right? That's not a bad thing. Agreed? Yes? No? Hello? Right? So some people are like, oh, well, I've got a nonprofit. Nonprofits need to make money too, right? Nonprofits need to pay the staff. Nonprofits need to be able to get to and fro. For-profits, we're in America, right? So we're here for a reason. I believe in what I call, I don't call it, I stole this too, conscious capitalism. Have y'all heard of that? Yes? So conscious capitalism, I read the book by the CEO of Whole Foods. And so, the whole idea of making sure that your money is coming from proper places and the things that you're doing are going back into proper places, right? So back to the apparel, I didn't forget. So make sure that you create your marketing plan, you identify your niche audience. And the reason I was talking about Nike is because after I Cheryled and worked with it, and I do by myself. It was a whole team of us, right? From Mr. Knight on down to the folks in the various countries and at the factories. I then moved over to the Jordan brand, and I was director of communications for brand Jordan. And one of the things that we always talked about there was niche or target or ideal customer marketing, and that you want to, the issue of supply and demand, right? You don't want to oversaturate the market with your products. You want people to, you never want to have enough for everybody. You want people to always want something. And that even, now I'm going to digress, even with teaching and children, right? I learned that if you play games with kids, you want to stop before they want to stop, and then they want to play again, right? So we're going to play, with that, we're going to play a game in a minute. So target your marketing, know your ideal customer, and if you target at the top, so we would target the captains of some of the best high school basketball teams in the country. We give them gear. We don't discount it. You don't get a discount, because if you give one person 10% off, guess what? Everybody in the room is going to say, well, I heard you say something, so I don't believe in discounts. I will give you something before I give you a discount, right? So, and when you figure out who that ideal customer is at the top of that pyramid, it'll trickle down, or if you figure out who the ideal person is at the bottom, it'll trickle up. But target who you want to connect with and communicate with, and then you'll find that you will reach other audiences as well. That make sense? Okay, we're gonna play a quick game. So I don't have my cell phone. As I told you, I'm technology free. But do you all have cell phones with you? Courtney, can you give me the directions, please? So what I'd like you to do is go on the internet. We're going to see how much you know about Brown, okay? So it'll take us about 2 minutes to do this. So if you would go to, obviously, www, right? Join.quizzes, Quizzizz, bless you, .com. So it's www.join.quizizz.com. Is my last pass still up here? Okay. So I have to log in. I'm going to do this. And I'm sorry? Oh, I am? No, I'm not. Oh, I am. So quizzes. Did you set it up already? No, sound effects. Where's marketing, mama? I don't care. Edit it. No, don't play yet. Okay. Okay.
Proceed when you're ready.
I need to give them the number, Courtney. Here, come on. My digital content manager set this up, and that's not my phone. This is all my excuse. I have to log in. So while we're doing this, somebody asked me a question. Yes. How much to charge, price. It's always an issue. And even when you say to customers or potential customers, what's your budget? How much do you have? Apparently, no one knows how much money they have, right? I have no idea. You tell me. So, you need to log into my LastPass. So, what I started doing was and it's even more available nowadays, but there are lots of tools. Thank you. There are lots of online tools that will give you salaries, that will give you price points for different things. We do a lot of federal government work, and there's this thing called GSA, which is Government Systems Administration. I don't know. It's a GSA contract. And when you go to a GSA contract, it's public information. So you're able to see what people charge the government. And that should be your threshold, because the government is the cheapest client you'll ever have, right? So if you're ever trying to figure out prices because the government buys everything. So this is true for any kind of commodity as well as any type of service. If you can find the GSA schedule for a company that's in your space, you at least know the minimum of what a good price for your product is. I personally, since I had been on the corporate side, I knew what I would pay others, so I added 10%. Right? So that's how I came up with my prices. Okay, so join.quizizz.com. The code is 531066. 531066. I see Samantha, she was first. Oh, look at y'all, good. Okay. All right. So play. I want to see the answers. How can I see the one? Where's mine? Oh, here we go. Who's cheese? Nice. So it's only 4 questions. But I thought it would be interesting for us to talk and to learn a little bit about Brown, alum, and some of the things that we've done. Wow, everybody got the last one right. You better have. You need more time?
Yes.
No, we're going to shut it down because I know the bell's going to ring in like 8 minutes. So we'll wrap it up. 10, 9. Ready? I'm going to end the game.
Doing so well before you came in.
So Aaron.
Yeah.
Awesome. So Aaron's in first place. Oh, it went away. So let's see. So how come you guys did not know about the Hunger Games?
I Googled it.
You Googled it. So not only was that question the one that the most of y'all got wrong, it also was the question that it took everybody the longest to answer because you were Googling it. Right? Huh? Looking at the picture. So this quizzes, right, that I just shared, it's free. When you're out and you're presenting, right, it has nothing to do with my business, except it does, because it's another way to tell a story, right? So we all just got some information that we didn't know previously. We had a little bit of fun doing it, and it kind of broke up the things, right, what we're doing. So what am I supposed to tell you now? So I share that tool with you. Kahoot, Kahoot is another one. But with Kahoot, you have to have a monitor. Quizzes is something that people can just download. And for those of you that are also in the instructing, or if you're trying to do a pitch or a presentation, it's, you know, you can put anything in there, right? Put something about their competitors and say, you know, well, what company offers blah, blah, blah? What company, and then have your company be the answer. Right? So there are a variety of ways that you can all tell your story. And as I have journeyed along my way, I've worked on identifying tools that I like, that my prospects like, that my team likes, and that are fun. Right? So that's Kahoot. Do y'all have any questions about any of those answers? We all get it? We all agree? Right? So we only have a few minutes left. Do you want to know anything else about me, or you want me to just keep answering some questions? All right, so then I will take some more questions. Who on this side has we got you. Who else has their own business? Who has an idea? You all better have an idea. Yes.
So what I want to do is get the shares of large private companies and issue tokens. I can repeat it. So what I want to do is get private shares and then issue tokens that accredited investors can trade.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Okay. Is anybody doing that now?
People are tokenizing various assets, but not that of like private company equity. Basically
Publicly
private
held?
equity. No.
So you're looking to get VCs or private equity firms to allow you to sell shares of their portfolios?
Yeah, and then issue tokens, you know, on a one-to-one basis to those shares so that, you know, accredited investors can trade, well, they can buy.
Right.
Like, or invest in private companies basically, so they would be able to do that instead by just like buying and selling tokens.
So what's your biggest obstacle in marketing that or in explaining that?
Yeah, so I wanted to get your perspective on how to storytell that easily because I've been getting better. It's a pretty simple concept, but it's hard to get it out to like really, I've had a hard time breaking it down.
It's simple, right? If you can think outside, we were having this conversation earlier, if you can think outside of the current norms, right? It's completely ridiculous if you only think in the current norms, right? So maybe one of the first things to do is you start your pitch by saying, I need you to unclothe, undress everything that you normally would think of when it comes to investing or when it comes to tokenizing. And you have to make sure that your audience is able to do that. And so you would then have to, you know, people, the other thing, right, when you're pitching your ideas, you know, people generally learn in three ways, right? They're either visual learners, audio learners, or kinetic learners. And so, the kinetics means, you know, they're the hardest to win over, but they're the most loyal at the end of the day. And so you can tell if somebody's a visual person when they say, all right, see you later, right? Look at how they sign their email. Look at the things they say. Or talk to you soon, right? That's an auditory person. Or, you know, it was really nice to meet you. I'm kinetic, right? So figure out where they are in that space of prospecting and in that space of pitching, and then you've got to connect with the individual or individuals so that they'll be receptive to your idea. And the thing that came to my mind visually was, oh God, what was her name? Courtney. What was that girl, Betty? She was a cartoon character. Betty who? No. No. You have all those DVDs at home. Well, there's this. So what I thought of was getting her to tell your story, because she's an aunt. What is her name? I'll think of it. When I figure it out, I'll email you and you let them know. So you gonna look it up? Please look it up. And so this young girl goes to school by day and she defends the world, right, at night. At Galactic Betty. Is that her name? Look it up. Something like that. And so what I was envisioning when you were talking is not that character, or if you could license it, right? But have her tell your story, because already the presentation has people thinking differently, right? So get some sort of visual or auditory or just something that will help people step into a new space, right? Because you need to, in order to get people to see things differently, you have to present differently. In order, what they say, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, right? So just do it a little differently. And if it doesn't work, it didn't work last time either. So what do you have to lose? At least you know what does not work, right? So get Betty. I'm gonna figure out her name. Atomic Betty, yes. And I know the people from Atomic. They're Canadian. I help them. So we used Atomic Betty. I did some work with the Girl Scouts, right? So isn't Atomic Betty the best person, right, to energize girls? So just think a little differently when you're looking to market and to pitch your businesses, and don't give up. You can give in, you can sit down, you can be sad, you can cry, you can punch a hole in the wall, right? Do whatever it is that you do, but be sure to get back up and don't give up. And that's really the best thing that I could say about marketing, advertising, and growing your business. So, did I finish on time? Am I good? All right, it's 1:50. Is some bell gonna ring now? Yeah. So thank you all. I'm here, I'm around. I have office hours. They're all filled up. But I'm around, and my daughter wants to go to Brown, so we're doing a tour. So if anybody wants to mark just around, I can give some tips while I'm talking. But I wish you all the best. Thank you. Thank you for having me.